The Survivor specialists Phil and Tegwith are back, and that's right. I get to include Tegwith there. Not joined by Tegwith. Tegwith is here. Tegwith is now one of the specialists. Tegwith is in. It is Phil. It is Blake. It is Will. It is Tegwith. John and McKenna still going strong with Survivor Rewind. But Tegwith, welcome to the podcast. We're going to be breaking down Survivor 50 casting rumors, predictions, and we have a game for all of you, which I'm going to get to right off the bat. So if you're 30 seconds in and you're like, what is this podcast going to be? I'm going to explain the game in 2 seconds. But first, I'm just going to say, what's up, Tegwith? How's it feel?
I'm so excited. I'm really, really excited to, number one, talk about 50, but also just like be here with you and start this incredible, exciting journey over at Survivor Specialists. I'm just really, really, really excited. So I can't wait to get into it.
I'm excited too. And it is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. And I knew that this wasn't going to take long. Happy Mother's Day, Tag, because you are a mother. I was wondering, I have Sam coming on the podcast today at 5 p.m. Eastern to do our predictions for next week. And, you know, he has confirmed that he is not mother, that there were other choices for season 47 that would have been mother. So correct. Unfortunately, Sam doesn't hit, but at least I got you here, Tagwith. So we're good to go.
I'm so stoked.
Matthew C., who is a huge Will stan, says first day and Tegwith about to pass Will in specialist status. So you're already moving up in the world here. But I'm going to explain the rules of this game right off the bat so that everybody knows how it's going to work. We have prizes. I got a shirt. You see the shirt? This is the specialist shirt. I have a buff. It's the Loggy buff. So for everybody who hates Eva and Joe, you're going to get a buff
for you.
And I got the Survivor game. It's unopened. You can see the packaging is still tight. So we got 3 things here that are going to go just to first place. So we're only doing first place on this. This game is going to work like this. I'm asking you all to predict the Survivor 50 cast. There is a link to the form, the Google form, in the description of this video. Everybody can only enter once. Somebody was really excited. They found the video. They found it yesterday, I guess, when I made it, and they decided that they were going to enter 3 times. You can only enter once. I have now made it so you can only enter once. If you are that person, I'm taking your most recent one. Okay. If you don't want that, shoot me an email or something, survivorspecialists@gmail.com. But so here's what we're going to do. I know that there's rumors out there, right? We know that some people are confirmed. Tegwith put out a video about 5 minutes before this podcast talking about it looks like Elizabeth Hasselbeck and Colby are on. We get that. So this is something where I'm not going to fault you if you start looking at whatever Redmond's posting, Survivor, Spoiled Survivor. If you start looking at all this, this isn't like predicting a season. Use at your disposal what you can use. Mm-hmm. That being said, you only have until May 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern time to submit. Anything submitted after May 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern time will not be considered. So you have till next Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. You must submit in the form. If you just leave it as a comment, that doesn't count. And the way it's going to work is I ask the questions of, who are you most confident in making 50? Who are you second most confident in making 50? Who are you third, all the way down to 20th? So if you end up with 18 out of 20 correct, let's say.
Whoa, congratulations.
Yeah, I know. I'm going big right off the bat. And somebody else also goes 18 out of 20. The tiebreaker will be whoever has the person who's not on the cast highest on their list loses. So for example, if we put Colby, you put Colby at 1, I put Colby at 2. Colby ends up not being on the cast. The person you're most confident in not being on the cast or being on the cast isn't there. The person I was second most confident in being on the cast isn't there. I look a little bit smarter in my guess there, so I win the game. Tegwith does not. I set you up as a loser already day 1 of the specialist. So
you know what? I gotta take some L's before I can take some wins.
Yeah, and Zach just said, I don't think I've ever seen Phil talk so fast. Zach, I know you're a patron. When I do these Australian Survivor podcasts by myself, I fit 40 minutes of podcasts in 20 minutes. So come on. But so that's what we're going to do. So it's that simple. Now, the only other caveat is if there are only 18 people on the season, the people that you have at 19th and 20th do not count. So make sure that your 19th and 20th are your stretches, are your guesses, or whatever. Boom. That's all of it. We know there's a lot of information there. You have a week. I will then announce the winners once the cast is officially announced, which honestly, if Redmond puts it out in the middle of July and it's like, these are the 18 people or these are the 20, that counts. I'm going to start sending prizes. So make sure you sign up with an email that you actually use, because that is how I'm going to contact you if you win. Mm-hmm. Some people play our games. Some people's don't do that. They do random. I remember the one guy, he was like, oh, I won. And I used like it was like snsnsnsnsn at gmail.com. And it's like, what are we doing? So that wasn't made up too. It's not what he said, but it was totally random. So I wanted to make sure I got all that in, Tag With, before we start diving into this, because I know sometimes what happens is we start talking about the cast, we start getting excited, and then we're like, man, we're 20 minutes in and we haven't explained the rules yet. And a lot of people, I don't know how, they don't listen 20 minutes in. So here we are.
Because of TikTok. Blame it on TikTok.
I'm telling you. I'm blaming it on you. Now everybody's going to go watch your video. Just come here to click the link.
You can always blame it on me.
Well, Tag With literally in like the first conversation we had after her becoming a specialist was like, this is how you probably should do your TikTok video. First one I put out, 21,000 views. Third highest one we've had, gained us 100 followers. So good job, Tag With. You might have told us the correct information on all of this. So well done. Thank you for that. We're already on the up and up, but the offseason is going to be a long one here. And I think it's only going to be longer because I feel like every time it feels like things feel solidified with Survivor 50, more news comes out. And what's the latest news here? Because you just did a whole video about it.
Yeah, the big thing that I was the assumption I was operating under was no winners. That was the assumption I'm operating under. And now all of a sudden, apparently winners are back in the mix. I feel like I don't know how I feel about this because like I am okay with winners playing as long as it's not a whole lot. But it's just like, I was really going under the assumption, like when I was thinking about who was going to be on it, that it was all going to be like no winners at all, including like Vecepia. Like I was thinking like Vecepia, Todd, like people who Fabio, like not really Fabio, but people who we haven't seen in a while. And now I'm seeing names like D, like I even heard Rachel. So like, there are some names that are floating around that I just am kind of shocked because of the winner of it all,
I think, so I have a theory on this and I'm very excited to put this theory out there. Maybe it's wishful thinking, maybe it's not, but here's what my thinking is. I don't know how many people saw the video that Jeff Probst did where they asked him to name all the winners in Survivor history and he could not name Brian Heidick, which I feel like was purposeful. I feel like that was purposeful.
That was a hard watch. If anybody's watched it, it's a hard watch.
It's a hard watch because this guy, like, we obsess about it, but like Jeff was there with them. Jeff was there. Jeff has to be like Thailand, creepy car salesman guy. Like, got to know that. I feel like he messed up his name on purpose. You could see the pain when he said Chris Doherty's name. You could see the life leave his body. There was one, though, that he really took his time to mention, and that was Vecepia. And he even went out of his way after naming Vecepia to say underrated, and I own that. Now, here is my theory. Okay, I have a theory. They are opening this up to winners because they have done a very bad job of promoting the first two Black winners in Survivor history, which are Vecepia and Earl. And I think that there might be a chance that both of them are interested, and Survivor is saying, maybe we need to go back and we need to honor this. Because if you think about it, the first man to ever win was Richard Hatch. Also the first gay man, so that helps there too. But he's played again. Tina has played multiple times. First woman to win. Ethan has played multiple times, right? You go down the list, Sandra has played multiple times, right? The first Hispanic woman to ever win. But Earl and Vecepia have never played a second time. So Jeff knows that people are annoyed with that, right? Especially that Earl's name has come up. Earl has been a last second cut a lot. I know he was in the rumors for Game Changers. I know he's in the rumors for Fans vs. Favorites. And then when they decided they weren't going to make it a full all-star season, he got cut. But Vecepia's name has never come up. And so I'm wondering if they were so gung-ho about no winners, did they realize that with the diversity initiative and all of that, and we're talking here about with this conversation will include 50% diverse casting, because that is how they're going to cast season 50. Like when Will and I do these podcasts, we do all the time. We're just like, look, we're doing a fake fan fiction season. Like these are just the 18 names we're coming up with. We don't really put consideration into that. On this one, we are going to put in 50%. Vecepia and Earl, this might be your last chance to ever put them on the show. You snub them for Winners at War. If you're already not super stoked about the cast, like, because I know Jeff was like, I feel like Jeff's probably bummed. I feel like there's this rumor going around that CBS kind of forced him to go one way and maybe he's not excited about that. Maybe this is his way of being like, let's like celebrate the first two Black winners that we have taken no time to celebrate throughout the history. And let's put them on the season. And maybe we do acknowledge that Dee and Rachel or Marianne could be some of the more interesting new era players to put on the show. So that's just what I'm thinking. And that's my theory. And we'll see if it comes true. But that's a theory that I'm going to kind of try to push.
That's awesome. Because I think the big thing is like, I felt like specifically, one of the worst days was the day that I heard that Sean Rector had been cut. And I think that there are a lot of people who were snubbed in the beginning of Survivor that I would really like to see back. But specifically, it was always Sean Rector and Vesepia were the two that were always on the top of my list. And if we could get Vesepia back, I would still feel sad about Sean not being there. But like, you know, I would feel a little better because I just think that she's been on the list for so long. And how much longer is she going to be able to, you know, play Survivor, right? She's probably not going to be able to come out for season, 60 or whatever. So I really feel like that would be huge. And I like your theory.
Mm-hmm. And we have Nicholas Snyder here who says this season would premiere during Black History Month, right? And it would premiere in February. So if it's premiering in February, like what better way to promote, like if you're getting into that where CBS now before the episodes will say, CBS supports Black History Month and like the pioneers who did this, and like they'll get into, different segments or whatever. And it's like the first 2 Black winners in Survivor history. And that is your storyline for February 25th or whatever it is. I mean, that's something that I think would work here for Survivor. And I think that, you know what, my biggest fear with Vesepia is that she maybe doesn't like pop on screen at this point, which that would be my biggest worry. And maybe like this is a pipe dream and it's not going to happen. And that's something that Survivor's also worried about. But if you're going to take a chance on somebody from the earlier seasons, there's no reason not to take a chance. It is a net positive to put Vesepia on your season, even if she ends up getting 2 confessionals and finishes 8th place. Yeah, people are going to complain, why didn't we get more Vesepia? But Vesepia's presence is better for the show. So I wonder what they'll do.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And I also want to say, like, as we're talking about these earlier seasons, I also want to bring up, like, I feel like it's weird that there aren't a lot of season 1 people in these rumors that I've been seeing. Like for a little bit, there was talk of maybe Jervis coming back. And I think at one point I even heard Greg's name, but like that was like once or twice. And I feel like it's season 50, I feel like is the time you need to bring at least one person from season 1 back. Whether that's, if you can finally convince Colleen, just like somebody, because I think not having somebody from season 1 on season 50 feels like wrong a little bit to me. And I don't care if it's somebody who's already played before, like played twice. Like I just feel like they need somebody out there just to represent season 1. And again, if they're gone, if they're a pre-merger, whatever it is, I just think it's weird to not have somebody there.
Yeah, I mean, Jenna Lewis was also a name that was popping around for a little bit there. Her name, it seemed like it was Jenna and Jervis who were the 2 names for that. And what's funny is since then, it feels like Colby and Elizabeth from season 2 have become locks.
Yeah.
And we've stopped hearing as much about the season 1 people. If you called Jervis and said, do you want to go on? Jervis would say yes.
Yeah.
Now, Jervis has one hell of an Instagram presence. Okay. Like he says some things where I'm like, dude, you and Joel back on the beach, season 1. Okay. Like there hasn't been much growth there, but also in Blood versus Water, like Jervis and Tyson were a fun alliance to watch. And Jervis actually did work on the screen because Jervis has an old school energy that we don't see in this new era of Survivor. Like he has that no filter, says crass things that still works on TV. Survivor has just kind of decided to go away from it. I don't think Jervis is a villain. He wasn't portrayed that way in either of his seasons, but he definitely has villainous traits. And so like Jervis would be good. And Jenna Lewis, I think, would be great because her game in All-Stars, as obnoxious as it is to rewatch All-Stars, I think her game is solid. And I think if you were talking from season 1, who has the most game, who would actually bring it? I think she's the answer to that question.
Yeah. I think that would be great. And I think in the video also that let me stick on Jenna Lewis. I think Jenna Lewis would be really, really cool to see back because, I think that there are some people who returned twice, but the second time they returned was like 20 years ago, like, All-Stars or, like, I don't know, just like the early, like, Bobby John, let's bring back Bobby John. No, I'm just kidding. But like that, but I think that would be a very interesting, a couple of interesting people to see back because, it's like it happened so long ago, even though you played twice. I kind of want to see how you're going to play now. And so Jenna Lewis would be great. I will say, I really thought I was in the I really thought that Colleen was coming back at one point because I saw an interview. I think it was the same interview that you were talking about when he was like listing the like winners.
Yeah.
And it was like there was a question about season 1 and he said, oh man, you know, I would move heaven and earth to get Colleen to come back. I've asked her to come back 1,000 times and she just has said no every single time. And so like I was really like had my tinfoil hat on and I was like, oh, that means she's coming back. It's confirmed Colleen's back. But I think she just said no again. I think she's just not coming back, but I would love to see Jenna Lewis back.
Yeah. And I think that some people are probably confused as like, why Elizabeth, right? With season 2. If you can't get Colleen, Elizabeth is literally the next person because
very true.
Australia was the most consistently watched season. I know the finale of season 1 still has the most viewers ever live for any episode of Survivor, but season 2 had the highest ratings from season 1 all the way, or from episode 1 all the way to the finale. And so Elizabeth was the most popular person on that season. Her story is what people watched as the through line. Colby was also very popular, but it was Elizabeth. Elizabeth said no over and over and over and over again. And part of me does wonder, Elizabeth, with it being 26 days, is that suddenly more enticing to her? Because some of the old school people like Colby are probably going to be like, 26 days is stupid, Jeff. I wish it was 39. This is easy, or this is dumb, or whatever. But I feel like Elizabeth might say, sure, I'll take off 4 weeks. And if I'm pre-jury, I get to go home. Sure, I'm in, because that wasn't the case in everything pre-season 40, and that could have been a turnoff for her. So maybe there is some merit to Elizabeth, because for the longest time I was like, okay, great, Colby and Jerry are there. I would rather see Elizabeth than pretty much everybody else that we've mentioned to this point, just because it would be cool as somebody who watched Australia live to see Elizabeth back on the island would be awesome.
And let's not forget, like, she had a very big career. So her saying no over and over again was probably also because she had a career to think about. Let's be real. She hasn't had it's kind of gone downhill. Like, she hasn't, like, when have you seen Elizabeth Hasselbeck on TV recently? Right. So, like, I feel like at some point she's like, okay, well, I guess, I'm not going to be able to, my career is back to where it was. I guess I'll just say yes now. Like, that I think is the biggest, like, because when has she been able to come back, since like Game Changers maybe? But I feel like this is her time to be like, okay, I think my career has not come back. I can use this to my advantage, or I can have fun, or it's only 4 weeks, or whatever it is. But I definitely think that like she would come back. I will say, I think I would. I don't necessarily feel like I need to see Colby. I know we're talking about who we think is going to be on the season, just to throw in my little 2 cents. I think we talked about this last time, but I don't necessarily feel like I need to see Colby. I would much rather it be Elizabeth and Jerry than Elizabeth and Colby. I really, really, really wanted Jerry back. And the fact that it seems like she's out of the conversation now, I think I'm very sad about, because I think that she is really great on Survivor. And I think, she had talked about in like recent interviews that, she was, the villain of the villains of villains, even though she really wasn't even that villainous. Yeah. So I would really just love to see her back on a more modern season, modern being now season of Survivor, and see how she plays. Cause I think that she would do really well. And I'm really sad that we're going to miss out on that. Yeah.
I mean, in Heroes Villain, she became the hero from that tribe. Like everybody else on that villain's tribe was a villain except for Jerry. I'm not counting anybody out though, until it's all said and done, because we were talking about no winners. We're talking about this feels locked. A lot of the information we're getting is second hand, third hand, fourth hand, fifth hand, sixth hand. Like, we are just getting the information. I know Redmond, if you're a patron of Redmond, you have more information than we do. But it's funny because a lot of the patrons will then come over and they'll start posting stuff on our Survivor, our Spoiled Survivor, or whatever it is. And then those things start circulating. We don't even know if the people who are posting that are actually patrons of Redmond or just tools. Like, we have no idea. So we're basing this off a lot of speculation. I'm not going to totally count Jerry out yet, but she's probably not going to end up on my list. For me, there's a couple people that if you put them on, I don't care. Like, I don't care what the reason is. I don't care whose place they're taking. These are the people: Colby, Jerry, James, Lex. Yeah, those are people like for me, and then Courtney Yates, obviously. But like, yeah, those are the 5 people that if you were to say we're putting them on the season, I don't care who is being cut for that person. I know Colby's not the most popular at this point, but as somebody who was 9 years old when that season was airing and I was watching that live, Colby was who you wanted to be when you got older. And then watching him on All Stars, he actually brings it a lot in All Stars. He just goes out early. And then his Heroes versus Villains game, which gets so much flack, that's the type of personality we need on New School Survivor. Like that type of miserable curmudgeon who also is kind of good at things, but like, and makes it deep as a hero. We need that kind of person on this season. Like the one that was circling lately was after Jeff was so nice with all the players, is Colby passing the chocolate back and not eating it and getting mad at Jeff and Jeff being like, we'll go when I'm ready, brother. And Colby's like, well, I just don't need it. I need that personality. So Colby still fits in there for me, even though I know for a lot of people he doesn't. And
here's the thing. I'm okay with Colby coming back if Jeff writes down on paper that he will wear a cowboy hat. And if he wears a cowboy hat, I'm fine with Colby coming back. If I get Jeff in a cowboy hat, I'm in. I'm fine. I'm cool.
We just need one shot of Jeff in a cowboy hat.
That's all I need, Jeffrey. I literally just want one shot in a cowboy hat. That's it. It's too big of an ask.
You know how in season 1, Jeff and Kelly go and have a beer and watch the opening of episode 1? Jeff would make it so that if Colby won a reward, he'd be like, actually, what I told you guys was the reward isn't that. Me and Colby are going to go into town. We're going to have a beer and we're going to watch TV. Yes. Like that would be what Jeff would change it to, because he would love that so much.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Colby and Boston Rob, he would move the earth for.
Mm-hmm. And Boston Rob is somebody I would move the earth for to make sure he's not on my show. Yes. I'm out on Boston Rob.
Yeah.
So go ahead. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I forgot what it was. So you go.
Okay. Well, so we've done pretty much seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're 21 minutes in. So that's going to be tough here. So what were some of the other seasons and gender that they were pushing here as thinking that it was going to be? And let's see if we can kind of piece together it is. Because I know that there's also names listed next to it. I saw what you put today, but I don't necessarily agree with most of those names.
Yeah, I totally get that. So one person I think is probably is a lock is Suri. I don't think we need to go into that too much. I think that she is pretty much a lock. I mean, Parvati talked about they said season 12 female, right? So I think that has got to be Suri. I've seen season 12 female on many lists. So I think that's probably it. And then they're saying 2 season 13 males. So I think it's probably going to be Ozzy and Penner there. I've also heard that Penner has been cut. So I'm not totally sure about that. I don't think it's Yule. Now that the winners are back in contention, I don't think that other season 13 male would be Yule. I think Ozzy is in, even with, the content that he used to make. I think that that's maybe not as well known, and Ozzy's just such a big name that they don't really care as much. But those are 2 that I'm not, I don't know. And then the big one, season 15, female. So that could be a lot of people. The name I've been hearing, which would be crazy, would be Amanda, which would be crazy. But Courtney, I think would be amazing. And I've been seeing in the comments also PG maybe, which I don't know if they would necessarily bring PG back because, but I think I would hope Amanda for season 15.
Yeah. I would hope Courtney, but I doubt Courtney wants to. You know what I mean? Courtney was somebody who they asked to come back for Fans vs. Favorites, and she flat out said no.
Yeah.
And then she comes out for Heroes Villains. And even though we all love Courtney, she got 4 confessionals on that season. She didn't get this. I mean, she's very memorable. Break his arm and I'll break her shoulder, all that stuff. But she's not as big of a screen presence as Amanda is. And if you're going to go season 50, you don't want to have anybody who could be a potential miss. Now, Courtney's only a miss because they decided to edit Courtney as a miss. Courtney's amazing.
Yeah.
I do think there's a chance it's PG. My biggest reason why I don't think it's PG is just because of her second chance performance.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, because let's say you started watching season 30. Let's say you haven't gone back and watched. You don't know PG's good game.
Yeah.
And I think that since that's what's fresh in people's minds, I don't know if PG has a shot here. I would say PG is probably out. Although I've always been a PG defender. Again, China, you could put Eric on. Don't put Eric on. You could put anybody other than Eric on. I shouldn't have said Eric. That was a bad one. I forgot. All of a sudden, everything in my mind clicked of headlines, TMZ. Don't do that. But so you could put anybody but him on, and I would watch that.
Yeah.
Right. I would love that casting choice. Jean Robert, I'd watch play again. He's a pig, but I'd watch him play again because I love the China cast. I think it's the best one ever. So
Yeah, China's so good. And I really like I would watch China again. Like China is the first season that I watched and I absolutely adore that season. So I think that, and I've said again, I would love Todd Herzog on 50,
Yeah.
but I just don't think that's going to happen. But like didn't Amanda say after season 40 or there was like an interview for around season 40-ish where she said that she would play again. And so I don't know. I think Amanda is somebody that I also really want to see again because we saw her in like a 2-year span of her life, 3 years, something like that. Like that is such a short time period. I feel the same way about Malcolm. We saw Malcolm in 1.5, 2 years of his whole life. They brought him back way too much too soon. Mm-hmm. And I would just like really love to see like Amanda come back and just like, I don't know. That I just would love Amanda. I can't even think because I just would like die if she was on the season.
Well, because so many people say we don't need people who've played 3 times or more, but we haven't seen Amanda since season 20.
Yeah.
And Malcolm, I always make the argument with Malcolm. He played once. People say, well, then he played Fans vs. Favorites too. Nobody knew who he was. He had no chance in Fans vs. Favorites too. So his whole thing was like, I just have to throw everything up in the air and hope. And then Game Changers, obviously the worst. A very short-sighted twist is what sends him home and ultimately leads to the self-destruction of that season.
Yep.
I feel like Malcolm only played one time. I'm all about watching Malcolm play again. To me, the 3-time requirement isn't a real thing if the people haven't played in 15 years, in 10 years. And I know Malcolm's a little bit more recent because of season 34. So you're talking by the time they do season 50, 9 years in between. 9 years is a long time.
Yeah. And again, he only played like within a short span of his like lifetime. So I feel like I also look at this as like when the character of the person, right? Mm-hmm. Like if it's been a long time, they're in a different stage in their life. Yeah. And I think that they're going to bring something different to the show, which I think is interesting. And like, because I think when we bring back people a lot, like one of the reasons why I personally don't even really feel like we need Cirie is because we've seen her a lot in the last 3 years. Yes, on different shows, but we've still seen her a lot. And then we're also going to see her on Australia versus the World. Like, I feel like I don't need any more Cirie content on my TV. I know that is blasphemous because 5 years ago I said I would have given up my game for Cirie, but we've just seen her so much. It's like, what new things is Cirie going to bring? I just don't think I'm going to see that right now because we've seen her so much in the last like 2 years. So I like looking at how these characters played and then also how much they could bring to the table with like a gap in time, which is also why, I think I'm interested in seeing like Dee and Rachel, but like, are they going to be bringing a different game to the game? I don't know. Are we going to see something different for them? Maybe. Is Dee going to try to play a dominant game and fail because everyone like knows that that's her shtick? Maybe. Is Rachel going to lose an immunity and everyone goes, well, we got to get her out now because she wins like all these immunities? Maybe. So I just don't like that's, I think, something to think about because having things fresh in mind, I don't think brings a ton to a returning season, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't need Cirie. I don't need Parvati. And like, I know that for a lot of people, these are Rushmore type players, but Cirie and Parvati I've seen a lot. I don't want Ozzy back. Ozzy's Game Changers game is boring. He doesn't do anything. He's not there. And I understand how big he was in Cook Islands, and I understand how big he was in Micronesia. Give me Penner over Ozzy 100 times out of 100. I would take that every time. And I think right now, like, can Cirie win Survivor? I don't think so. I don't think she can win because nobody's going to let her sit at Final 3 because they know that she will win that game. Yeah. And so we're going to watch her again go out in 5th or 6th. Like, people, there's a little bit of revisionist history that Cirie was phenomenal TV in Game Changers. She was pretty overshadowed in Game Changers. She really didn't have that much screen time. And the balance beam thing is still one of my least favorite moments in the history of the show. So I think that Cirie, while we know she's great TV, but she's just on Big Brother, like you said, Australia versus the World, The Traitors, Snake in the Grass. This is going to be her 5th show since COVID. Yeah. Look, if Cirie's there, I'm rooting for Cirie. Yeah. But I don't necessarily need Cirie.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then while we're talking about these like earlier seasons before we move on to like, because there's a big gap. I know we talked about Malcolm a little bit, but from what I've been seeing, the most recent stuff I've been seeing, it's not a ton of people from the 20s. So before I move on to like the later things, the one person that I actually think would be really interesting to come back and I'm really excited to pop, like, I think he might be is Rob Cesterino. Yeah. I think that for a long time, Rob was out, was not in the talks, was not happening. And I do think that I don't know. I listen to some of his stuff, and there's this new kind of energy he has about talking about Survivor. And I think it might be because he's going to play. And I think that he has a very good chance to do well on that season because I know he has these connections, but also like, I think he's a big shield that people are going to bring to the end. And I just think that I don't know, because it's filming during the off season, right? Like it's not filming during any kind of Survivor time. So it's not like he's going to be missing a season to talk about it. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe.
And I want to throw this up here from Pickle Breath, but I'm worried about how negative he's been on 48. He's not going to be punished for being negative on 48. No. Think about how positive he's been on everything else. If 48 is a struggle to watch, it's not Rob Cesternino's problem. That's CBS's problem. At the end of the day, why do so many more people still watch Survivor? I said this when we had Mike Bloom on in the season or earlier in the off season. I said, why do so many people still watch Survivor? It's because they get to come and listen to podcasts after. So many people watch Survivor so then they can go listen to Rob Cesternino talk. So they can go to these events that Rob Cesternino throws, that Bryce and Wendell throw, so they can meet ex-Survivors, so they can interact. It's a fun community, and you can now be a part of it without having played. I think that if you are celebrating Survivor, you can't celebrate Survivor without Rob Cesternino. Because the other thing that Cesternino has done a great job of, there's never been drama around him. He has stayed so squeaky clean throughout his entire time doing this podcast. It's impressive. Yeah. And you think about who else can say that they have a 15-year media career and doesn't have a blemish that people can go back to and say, damn, I don't know if I would have said that now in 2025. Almost everybody has something like that for if they're around that long. I think he'd be great. I would love to see Rob play again. And I think he would make a deep run. I agree with you. I think people would use him as a shield.
Yeah. And I'm literally like tearing up thinking about it. Like if Rob Cesternino is on, I'm literally tearing up. That's insane. If Rob Cesternino is on season 50, he is my Suri. Like he is somebody that he will do no wrong in my eyes. I will go on the internet and defend him. He'll like, do something dumb or crazy. And I'll be like, yeah, he has a reason. There are reasons. Like I will defend him to the ends of the earth. I would be so excited because you're totally right. And also you said this, I can't remember if it was on a podcast or just in conversation. Jeff shouted him out. Like Jeff uses Rob. Also, I went to go see a pre-screener of season 45 and Rob hosted it and Jeff was there and Rob interviewed Jeff. So he uses Rob, number one. Number two, Jeff literally will shout him out and being like, you started this. Like, this is all you did this. And if we're talking, say season 50 is Legends or whatever it is going to be, if the season theme is Legends or any kind of thing like that, and Rob Cesternino is not there, then the theme is not accurate because he is literally the pillar, the keystone of, I think, the Survivor superfan community because of what he built. And I think it would be a huge miss if he's not there. And I would also just die. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, no, it would be awesome. I mean, and like I've gotten to talk to Rob a lot over the years. Like we both used to live in LA. Now we're both on the East Coast. But like when we lived in LA, you'd go to these events and Rob's there, I'm there, like whatever. Like Rob's great. I would love to see Rob on. I think that he's built up so much excitement even during season 48 right now. And this is why CBS won't punish him for being negative on the season. Why are people still watching this season? So they can hear Rob complain.
And they also want to talk bad about it. And all press is good press. CBS knows that.
Tag with, what is our highest viewed recap right now? This week's. So right now it's 100 views behind Carolyn's recap with us. Carolyn's recap is our highest viewed of the season. This one though is about to pass Carolyn's probably tonight. We didn't have Carolyn. And it's because people love to hear you complain. We got more interaction, more of all that, just because people are over it. But the thing is, if you don't have Rob and to some degree us, it's like, why would you keep watching? There's no reason to keep watching. You'll just watch it later. But you want to watch it live so that you can listen to Rob on Thursday. That's huge. And if you don't listen live, you're not going to binge watch it and then go listen to the podcast. It makes no sense. You want to be in the know. You want to be in the conversation. what Rob has done is amazing for the show. And
Yeah.
I think the show knows that. And I think that they will try to go out of their way to get them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to say, I see a comment over here saying, talking about T-Bird. That is somebody that I would love to see back, but I think that T-Bird is such a niche survivor. It's Alexi Pat. So if Jeff wants to celebrate, then Rob Cesterino and T-Bird would be great picks. I think that you're 100% right. I think with T-Bird, you think back, T-Bird was an option for second chances and she didn't get picked. She didn't get voted in. And so like, I think that T-Bird is a very niche survivor super fan. Like people, like super fans love her. And I just don't know if she has the the push from the fans for her to come back, which I think is sad because I would love to see T-Bird on the season because will she play the best? I don't know, probably not. But I think she has so much energy. She's so much fun to watch. And I think she just have really good TV moments. And the thing about Survivor is we need to have game players. We need to have strategists. We need to have strong people. But we also have to have somebody who's just funny, silly, goofy, and just there for a good time and also to win. But like, and I think T-Bird would be that. And she also is a good liar, and we love that about her. But
yeah, we do. I'm surprised that T-Bird hasn't come back. I'm surprised she wasn't on Game Changers, honestly, because it seemed like the people who didn't make second chance that they wanted to get back on the show, they found a way to get them onto Game Changers. Brad Culpepper, Troy Zan, like, you know, these are people that they wanted to bring back. I'd like to see T-Bird. There's just been no discussion of T-Bird, which makes me think T-Bird's probably not in the consideration. And I do think that if you're looking at some of the older school players, if you're getting yeses from Elizabeth and Colby and anybody from season 1, and now if they are open to winners and you're talking about Vesepia, and then you keep going and Rob Cesterino is saying yes. And now Stephanie LaGrossa, somebody who we kind of glossed over here. She's somebody who seems like she's in the mix. They're at a different level than T-Bird is.
Yeah.
And that's why I think if these people are saying yes, I don't see how T-Bird gets in.
I agree. And I just wanted to call that out because I do love T-Bird and I would love to see her there. But I just think, I just don't think this is her season, unfortunately. But if we're moving on to some other names, have you heard any other names from the 20s? Because I feel like the 20s are very barren. Like other than Malcolm, I haven't really heard.
Abby Maria was in the mix for a little.
That is true. Abby Maria was in the mix for a little. I would love to see her back just because, okay, you know, she's Abby Maria. She's going to stir some things up, but.
Yeah, Abby Maria was in the mix for a little bit. I don't think Kelly Wentworth's in the mix. I know that that's like been like kind of a rumor, but I don't feel like she is. I feel like Kelly's doing her thing and like that's it. I haven't heard much from the 20s. I will say this though, and this is something that I think we need to keep in mind as you're making these lists. We're making these lists. If you're making your list for the game, for the contest, don't forget we're 37 minutes in. This is a contest at the end of the day, so make sure you submit your form here at the end of the video after we talk through this. But like, there's some people who just aren't going to talk about it. And I know that like right now, Redmond has his source and Redmond is hearing names here and there, blah, blah, blah. But there might be some people that source just doesn't know about.
Yep.
And I think that could be something to keep an eye on. Like I know Rick Devens' name hasn't come up at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. Rick Devens is there 1000%.
He's there if this season happens. Yeah. Like, and I don't think that necessarily matters. So like, because my question would be, and this is like a little wishful thinking, but this is just me being an older school fan who likes the older players. But like, let's say in the mix was like Terry, right? Or Troy Zan, right? If either of these people are in the mix, they don't have social media presences.
Yep.
They live their lives in like their own way. They're not going to events all the time. Like I did see Troy Zan at an event last year down at FIU. Because CBS threw it and Troy Zan Cam and Nora was there and Ben was there and D and Jam. It was great. But like when it comes to some of these older people, they're not in like, they don't care and they don't need to go tell people about it. And also these are people who are going to play by the rules a little bit more because they're like way more scared about potentially not having their opportunity.
Yeah.
Now I have zero information on this. This is just a little theorizing I'm doing. There's going to be a name or two that we're going to hear when this cast gets announced. We're going to be like, how come nobody heard about that? And I think it's because some of these people are like, I'm going to stay hush hush. I don't want problems. Devens might be a little more hush hush because he did the podcast with Jeff and he doesn't want rumors getting around. And then CBS being like, is that a contract dispute? Is that an issue? What's going on? I mean, I think that there are some people who are just better at lying and being quiet and just not caring. And I wouldn't count out these types of people. I'm just saying.
Great. I think that's a really great take because I think that's 100% correct. Rick Devens is number one on my list of I've got a why is this not here? And Rick Devens is number one. I saw it on the comments. Davey is number two on that one because Davey is somebody that I had been hearing in the rumors for a while. And then I stopped hearing about Davey and I was like, that seems wrong to me. That doesn't seem right. I know they probably don't want to bring a ton of people back from one season, but like 3 from one season, not that bad. Like if it's
especially when it's that good of a season.
Exactly. Especially if it's that, I feel like 3 is they did a good job cutting because I would bring back like 9, but like Angelina and Christian, I think Christian is another one of my locks. And Christian is one of those people who I actually kind of think like he is probably not telling anybody because I think he's just living his life. He's a professor, you know, he likes his job, he's tenured, he's all that stuff. And I feel like he's just like, everyone just knows that everybody loves him so much. So why would he not be there?
Look at that. I got a ticker at the bottom. You're saying Christian, Colby, Elizabeth. Every time you say a lock, I'm going to start putting the name in so that people can follow along with what we're saying.
Yeah. I just think he is. And I think, how do you feel about Angelina? Do you think Angelina's a lock?
As long as Angelina is not pregnant, Angelina's playing.
Yeah.
As long as she is not pregnant, because she was going to play 40. If it wasn't Winners at War, she was in this conversation for 40. And I think she will absolutely play. In terms of also another name somebody just brought up over here is Dom.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dom would absolutely play. I think Dom is another one. Like, look, not to what is it, like stereotype or whatever it is, but like the older, like family, like white guys, I feel like are like scared of the rules by CBS. And I think like Dom, Devins, Troyzan, Terry, Tom Westman, who the hell knows? Like, I feel like those are the kinds of people who, if they're on, they're not telling you until they are on the plane. Like, they are not telling you. And so I think that's been a little bit quieter. So Dom is another one. I would be floored because they brought Wendell back and Dom was the star of Ghost Island.
Yeah. Dom is huge. I think Angelina's a lock. And then Chrissy, I think is pretty much in because there was another video where, Jeff was talking about Winners and he goes, and a lot of people think that I hate Chrissy, but I don't. I think she's amazing and she would play a great game and we got to bring her back. Like he literally said that very recently in an interview. So I definitely think Chrissy is in the mix. And if not coming back, there is in the rumor in the list that I saw, they said it was only one woman from season 35 and it was between Desi and Chrissy on who it is. But I think it's 100% Chrissy.
Look, I know that with the diversity initiative and all of that, Desi's name is coming up a little bit more because like she won the challenge and now she is. But on Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, Desi is the most under-edited person on that season. Desi is a big time afterthought on that season. And I don't think Survivor, based on the things that Jeff is saying, wants the people who are coming back to play the game to be better remembered for something else. Yeah. He wants it to be Survivor. Like he's getting mad at people for going and playing the traders and going and doing the challenge. So if Desi is way better known for the challenge than she is for Survivor, that's not the type of person Jeff wants to put on the season. I think that would be Chrissy for sure. I think that Desi's name has come up a little bit more because one, CBS does like her. Yeah. And two, because when you start to break this down, I mean, we've talked a lot about these names so far. When you start to break this down to the 50% rule that they now have in play, it does start to feel like, okay, well, we need to kind of, some of these names that seem obvious might not necessarily be true because they're not fitting. That doesn't fit into the 50%. So yeah. I do think that's why Desi's name came up, but I don't think Desi's it. I would be floored.
I don't think it is either. But I think that's interesting that they were having that conversation between them. I just think that, I think that Jeff talking about somebody who lost, especially when he was getting a lot of flack for maybe how they lost, him bringing up kind of unprompted that he likes her and would love to have her back, I think is a really big indicator that at least she's in the talks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And Chrissy, you're talking about Chrissy with that,
Chrissy,
right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Chrissy.
I think Chrissy for sure. I mean, I would love to see Chrissy play again too. I think Chrissy's one of the better second, like runner-ups we've had, especially since like, if you go all the way back to like post Aubrey, Chrissy and Dom are the two that scream out to me. And other than Chrissy and Dom, like, yeah, then you get into the new era with Sam and Austin. Like those are fun TV, Charlie. But I do feel like Chrissy and Dom are still on a level that's a little bit higher than the two of them. They really brought it on their seasons.
I agree. Are there any like other 30 people like in the 30s that you've heard that we haven't talked about?
So I'm trying to think. So obviously 31 is nothing, but then 32, people were wishful thinking with Sydney. That's not
Yeah.
happening. Sydney's
I
not
could
playing.
see Sydney on like a second chances or something if people like vote her enough, but I don't. Yeah, I think 50 is a stretch for Sydney.
Yeah, so I don't think she's on that. I don't think Aubrey has any interest in ever playing again.
I agree.
Matthew C is asking about Jay here. I haven't heard anything surrounding Jay. I don't think Jay would be in. Somebody's asking about Ty. Now, Ty is a name that I did start to hear a little bit, but again, like that one seemed like it came out of absolute nowhere.
Yeah.
He's older now too. People forget Ty was pretty old when he played the first time. So if you were to put Ty on right now, Ty is 61 years old.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that means you can't play. I'm just saying, like, if you're already going back to Colby and you're going back to Elizabeth, like Elizabeth's only 47, so like she's not that old. But like, if you're starting to go back to these older seasons, your cast is going to skew older.
Yeah.
Is Ty somebody that you want to be one of the older people?
Yeah. I think I actually hadn't been hearing a lot of Ty. I don't know that I feel like I really need to see Ty again. I like Ty, but I don't know. I think that's an interesting one. I also want to say Matthew C for Devin Pinto. Love that. I want Devin Pinto back so badly. But I don't think it's 50. I think it's like a second chance this season or just like another season. And I don't even think that we're going to get that. But Devin Pinto is one of the ones that I would really love to see again.
Sawyer Scheitler here. Don't forget Carolyn Rivera. Jeff promised. He did, and it's not happening.
No.
Mama C is never playing again. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if you keep going through that, like Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, I think it's just the one. I would be surprised if there's anybody else in that mix. Ghost Island, I do think Dom is more in the mix than people are probably knowing, because I think if Dom's probably just good at it. Dom's just probably good at being hush hush, and he's not saying anything.
I've seen Dom at things before, so it's like I've seen him at events, so he's still watching Survivor, liking Survivor, all of that stuff. I just think that I think you're right. He's better at keeping it hush hush.
Well, and remember, Dom and Wendell and the rest of that jury managed to keep the tie hidden from everybody until the finale. So this is a good group of liars.
Yeah, that's very true. Very good point. Very good point.
Yeah. And then from 37, I think you hit it on the head. Angelina and Christian are locks. I think that Davey should be in the mix. If he's not, that's a bummer. Gabby is probably not. I think Gabby has totally kind of vanished off of the face of the Survivor Earth. I don't think she's in there.
Natalie, I think, is the only other name, but I think Natalie's a second chances person, and I'm not saying that they're going to do a second chances. I feel like they might, but like Natalie is somebody they're bringing back for like a second chances. She's a pre-merger who played once.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're not going to bring an icon. And I'm an icon, let me tell you, but like not somebody for 50. But yes, I think, another kind of season is honestly Game Changers. She changed the game. Walking off that jacket. No,
I mean, Natalie is probably one of the best pre-mergers in the history of the show. So I would watch Natalie again for sure, but I agree with you. I don't think she's not for this type of season, which we're going to get to somebody else with that too in the future here. Where is it? Nick Combs says, why is Mama C never playing again? What did I miss? I just think it's now past her time. Like, I think at this point, Jeff forgets that he probably made that promise, and it's like, all right, good, we're moving on. Nobody's clamoring for her to play. And then when you look at 38, there's some names that I brought up a lot. Like, I always feel like Lauren O'Connell should be in the mix. She's never brought up. Victoria is somebody that people talk a lot about. You could even go to War Dog. Like, why not War Dog, right? Doesn't seem like anybody from 38, though, has gotten the call. And then 39, like, what are you going to do? Lauren and Janet have an argument, but they're not going to do it.
Yeah, no one from 30. I would say Elaine was probably contacted and was talked to, but they're not. There was a lot of, dark clouds around season 39, and it sucks because I think the cast is really, really good. And I don't think that they're going to be bringing them back for the potential of a season 50, because I think they want it to be, Jeff says he wants it to be fun. And I don't think that, I think these players are going to be brought back for another thing. But if you're looking at the production of this season, I don't think they're going to use somebody from 39 where if they do flashbacks clips, like, what if, what's his name is in the background? You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, I just don't think they want to bring that onto 50.
Yeah. But I will say this, if Janet Carbon is on the season, She's the exact type of person I was talking about, of somehow managing to stay super quiet, because why would she be loud? Right. I mean, look, we were at the Ron Clark event. We heard like one person in particular be like, wink, wink. Hopefully I see you again soon. Like, I'm not going to out that person here, but they're running around the Ron Clark event saying it. Like, Janet's not going to do that.
Exactly.
So Janet, I could see. Lauren Beck, though, is an interesting one, because I think Lauren Beck's great TV. I love Lauren Beck. My question with Lauren Beck is, though, like, what is her benefit to playing Survivor? She is like made it to that next step in her career. She is doing great things. She is going around and she's like literally become what she wants to be. Mm-hmm. Why would you go now play Survivor? It doesn't make sense.
No, it's like if, obviously it's not the same exact level because it's a different day and age and she's really big on the internet, but like Elizabeth Hasselbeck, that's who she wanted to be. And Elizabeth said no during this time. And Lauren Ashley Beck is kind of what she wants to be in that like thing. And I just don't think that she is going to leave for that. And I've also seen her make videos saying that she never wants to play again. So, I don't think we're seeing her.
All right. Now, what is your paper over there say about the 40s?
40s. Okay. So, I mean, I think a lock is Jonathan, whether we like it or not. Mm-hmm. Whether I like it or not, let me tell you. I think a lock is Jonathan. I think I've been hearing him since literally before season 50 was even like a thing. Like Jeff loves Jonathan or loves the idea of Jonathan. And I think that he is probably definitely coming back. Or at least all of these rumors have me really believing that he's coming back. And then we also hear from season 45 is I heard the name D. And I've also heard Emily flip in. So it could be it's a season 45 female. So D or Emily, I think, is the people that I've been hearing. I was under the impression, and this is how I have my dates wrong, but I was under the impression that she was out for the challenge. And I was like, oh, she can't even do it with her schedule, but I'm pretty sure the challenge actually finished filming.
I think she just got back.
I think she just got back. So is she willing to leave in 2 weeks to go, play a game for probably $2 million? Probably. So, if the invite is there, I think D would go, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think here's my question to you. If you had to pick between Jonathan and David, who would you rather see play on?
David.
Me too.
David, and that's every time. And him standing up, that is my favorite moment, almost literally since Natalie, Can I Have Your Jacket? And I will go down saying that Operation Italy was great, like great moments. I love them. Great, like strategic things. But for television, him standing up is literally the best thing since Natalie, Can I Have Your Jacket? I'm sorry.
Have you been watching the silent versions too? Because I've watched every silent version and it's amazing where like this is what it sounded like at Tribal Council and there's no music and it's him literally just standing there staring. Okay, here's my thing. There's now rumors that a 48 person might be in the mix that's a male. There was just looking like a female, but now it's looking like a male. If you're asking me from a TV perspective, what do I want? I will take David every time. And I see this. Clout says Jonathan's a better player. I disagree with that. I actually think that Jonathan just went along for the ride a lot more than David did. David was trying to push things. David had a good read on what was taking place around him. It just other people weren't willing to listen to him, or it wasn't better for their game to go with him. I think David is better TV than Jonathan. I think that he's more exciting, honestly. In some of these challenges, there's a cockiness about him that Jonathan didn't necessarily have. I'm starting to wonder if the fan reaction and the way that the season has dipped significantly since David's boot, I'm wondering if they're starting to say, hey, David should be on this season, not Jonathan. Because Jonathan could fall into that Judd Sargent role of, sorry, man, you played too close to the other All-Star season. So now we have better versions of you to put on every season now.
Yep. I think that's a really great take. And I don't know. I think that, we need somebody who I think 50 needs people who, it's going to be a lot of people who are there to play the game, and it's their version of the game. Everybody views Survivor differently, and they're going to all play Survivor differently. No one's going to play the same. Right. And so we're going to have somebody who maybe but I want somebody who's going to play that game, not stand idly by and watch that game be played. I want somebody who is going to take the charge. And if it gets them voted out, then like, so be it. But I think that would be way more interesting television and way more interesting gameplay to see. And I saw somebody say it, Rob Cesternino playing with David. Give it to me now. Like, give that to me now. The chaos, I would love.
I would love it. I would take that. And I think Emily over D at this point, although Emily has said she would never play again. Who knows if it's like, hey, we're going to do 2 million.
That was right after her season.
She said it to me in person.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I definitely heard another point in time. She said, $1 million is a lot of money and life is expensive.
What about Kelly Nalbandian though? You don't think it could possibly be her?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but like, I think that Kelly Nalbandian is primed for second chances. And honestly, maybe I'm giving CBS too much credit, but I really think that we're getting a 52, 53 second chances season. And I think that there are people who they would rather save. Like, imagine people voting for Carolyn to be on second chances. Like, that I think is something that they would rather have when there's already going to be so much talked about season 50. It's like in baseball, you don't put your best pitcher that brings the most fans on opening day. People are already going to be there for opening day. You need to have if you want fans in seats, then bring them back on a different day for their first start of the season. So I think like there are some people they're going to save for second chances because they know we want them. And I think that's Jesse. I think that's Carolyn. I think that, those are the only two people I can think. Kelly Nalbandian. I think there are other people that are going to be, whip those votes a little bit more.
Is Caleb in the conversation right now or no?
I think he was at one point. I think he was big in the conversation at one point. I haven't heard a lot about Caleb recently. I've only, but he was big in the conversation at one point. And so I think there is at some point, maybe, I could see him being there, but I also see he's primed for second chances. And so I think, it could also be that, but I really think that I'm 50-50 on him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you get the 46. Can everybody see the bottom here? Ultra lock Q, bunch of exclamation points. That is if you were to say, if you are filling this out, if you're filling out the form on the bottom here, I'm giving you a test and I'm telling you the answer to number one. The answer number one, just so everybody has it, is Q. He is who you are the most confident in being on this season.
Yeah.
There is no doubt that Q is playing. Q would have to have a serious situation happen in his life to not be on this season. Q is on. He's locked in. There's no way he's not playing. This is the kind of guy who his personality fits for why he'd want to be on TV. His career fits for why he'd want to be on TV. He is the best confessional giver of the new era. There's no way he's not on. And somebody had commented it earlier. Now I got to find it. I got to make sure it's there.
His baby's also 1 or 2, I think now, or almost 1. So out of that newborn stage. So it's, I think a little bit, it's always going to be hard leaving a kid, but a little bit easier.
And Ellis Axon here says, can't wait for the David and Q Strong Six Alliance. See, this is where I start to think that David makes more sense though. In all seriousness, David and Q being on the same island, that's great. Jonathan and Q being on the same island, what's the benefit of that? I feel like David and Q is more exciting. And I don't dislike Jonathan at all. I just think that David makes more sense because Q, if you're building this season, you're starting with Q as the first puzzle piece.
Yeah.
So now how do you build it around Q?
I really think that you're doing. I've also recently heard Charlie. I've heard it's Q and Charlie from 46, which I love Charlie also. I don't think we necessarily I think Charlie is another person that I think is primed for a second chance this season. I think that that's somebody that people would bring vote for Charlie. Trust me, the people in the comments love Charlie. I love Charlie too. To be clear, I also
doesn't sound like it, but I
do. I really do. It's just a lot of people, the way they like to show that they love Charlie is hating on Kenzie. And I'm that's not love. That's just bitterness. I love Charlie. I think he's great. But so I would love to see him on a second chance this season. But I feel like we have other people like Charlie. And I'm not saying Christian Ubicki and Charlie are exactly the same, but I think they can kind of give similar vibes. Maybe I know they're different age, but I think that I don't know. I just don't think that we really necessarily need Charlie with some of the other people we've talked about. Does that make sense?
It does. And when we get through all 48 seasons here, we're going to sit down and we're going to try to figure out what's going on here with everything. And we'll kind of try to break this down, but I think I agree with you. I think Charlie's going to fit into that just cut kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. And then I've been hearing from 47, Rachel, and the Genevieve, and I would love to see Genevieve back, but I don't think that Genevieve is, really wants to play again. She's not on social media. She didn't really care for the whole it being televised thing. So I don't really feel like she's in the conversation anymore. And Rachel literally talks to Jeff every single week. So
do you think that there's a chance that Rachel, Charlie, what is it? Rachel, Charlie, D,
and Devin
and Devins are all like
yes.
on the season?
Yes. I genuinely believe it's the tribe division is if it's three tribes, I know that would be 18 people, but it would be Rob, Cesterino, Devins, podcasters, D, Charlie, Rachel, and then Rome. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we need a 6. That's the problem. I'll just go out there. I'm actually on 49, everybody. So yeah. I will be out there. This is so funny. As we're doing this, Alexa just texted me and said, is there actually a real chance Amanda comes for 50? I just haven't let myself believe it. So it is Mother's Day. So the original mother from the Specialist podcast is here.
First of all, if you're watching, hello. Thank you for everything. But also, I've also been holding out hope. Like it's like I don't want to believe.
Yeah. She's the Amanda at this point is like, the present that you really want on Christmas, and you're going to get it, but then you're like, okay, but like, let's not get carried away.
Yeah.
Let's not get carried away. Right. Yeah. I feel like she absolutely is going to be there though. I'm telling you, I'm holding out. 40. So you said with 47, 48. I think a lot more people were in conversation on this season than maybe we were being led to believe. And I think that so much is still being based around what is the internet reaction? What is the fan base reaction? What do people want? What is the edit actually looking like on TV? Because it looks like Say is that person. Now it's like, who could it be? Could it be Eva? Could it be Joe? I still think David should probably be in the mix for this. Honestly, if you're asking me which woman is playing again from this season, here's my steaming hot take. It's Camilla. I think Camilla is going to be the person who is going to play from 48. If there is a woman from this season, I think it is her. She is bringing it. There's nobody who dislikes Camilla at this point. And I think she'd be great for a second time. People are saying it's Eva. What does Eva bring a second time? Eva's been a one-note character on this season. I don't think she brings a different dynamic the next time she plays. I think she plays the exact same way. Camilla, there's so many avenues you can go with her.
I agree. I think Camilla is huge. And I think that like she's even said on the show, like, I would be so great on another season. This is just not the season for me, or whatever she said. And I really think that's a very good point. I will say, I still think, I know that the rumor is that Say has been cut. I think that it's Say. I really do. I think that there is again, I said it earlier, all press is good press, even bad press. And I think that there was a lot of hate and love that Say got from both the superfans and the casuals. And I think if people are talking about Survivor, that is good for Survivor and CBS. And I think people were talking about Say a lot. And I think that like she is somebody that maybe is not great to live with, but it stirs up chaos and makes things happen. And I think that would be a very interesting thing. Like imagine Say and Colby on a tribe together. Like
we saw it. It was Colby and Sugar, and she got voted out first.
You're right. We did see it. Well, I don't know. Say is a little more Say. She's a little bit more running around. I don't know.
Look, okay. Here's what I'm gonna say about Say on this whole front. I don't think that they're putting a pre-merger, pre-jury person.
True. I mean,
on season 50 from season 48.
Yeah.
No matter how good of TV she is, because at the end of the day, if Say is that good, then why aren't you putting Rome on? They're so similar. They were massive personalities in the pre-merge. They didn't make the jury. They got voted out early, but they were great TV. They almost did the exact same things on the island.
That is true. They are both. I mean, Say and like when I was who were we talking about earlier? That was a pre-merger. Natalie. I think that if Natalie's not there, then I think you're probably right. Say is not there, just because they're both pre-mergers, but like kind of do a lot of chaos. I think that is probably a good point. And I also want to say, somebody commented this earlier. We are like super fans make up probably like, a small, like 15% of the overall viewership of Survivor. CBS sometimes doesn't really care what we think a ton. And so I do think that like there are people like Joe and Eva that I think a lot of casuals really like. I think a lot of like moms probably love Joe, like love Joe. And so I think that there is a good chance that because of the love that, and I like Joe, it's not that I don't like Joe, but I just think that there's a lot of people who might be in contention that we don't think are maybe the most interesting players because they're a little one note, but that maybe casuals like that one notedness, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Although I will say my dad finally has turned on this season and he's been the biggest Joe stan of all time. And I was talking to him yesterday and he was like, well, they took 2 weeks off, huh? I'm like, yeah, well, this is what happens when, and I made that argument about the fact that this isn't old school Survivor because old school Survivor has all these other elements. Another fact is in old school Survivor, if Joe was winning these immunities and was this liked, he would have been voted out. like that's old school Survivor. They would have voted Joe out at the last tribal council. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Also, somebody saying here, Kyle, like, why not Kyle? If Kyle doesn't win, Kyle could be in that consideration.
I think if Kyle win, I think that there is a very good chance if winners are back in contention, the winner of the season could be going.
True.
If Kyle wins, if Joe wins, if Camilla wins, wouldn't that be great? I think there's a very good choice because again, we see a trend of winners taking over the On Fire podcast. So I'm assuming probably the winner of this season is going to be doing the On Fire podcast for season 49. And if that trend is, like the people, we think that the people on the On Fire podcast are going to be on 50, the winner could be on 50, whether that's Kyle, Shaheen, Joe, Eva, Camilla, Mitch.
Yeah.
Who am I forgetting? That's 6, right?
Did you say 6? I just assumed you were going to get them all. So I was already like looking for the next.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think Mitch was last. Okay. So so I think the other thing right now too is 48 is the freshest in our minds.
Yeah.
And so there is a recency bias amongst the fans who are having these discussions of who's going to be on the season to just kind of gravitate more towards having the argument of which 48 person should be there. I know like some people in the chat, when I said I don't think Say should be on there, like, but she's the best TV. She should be on there. There's plenty of people who played Survivor who are better TV than Say. Like Say did not break the mold of Survivor. Like she didn't change everything. And I'm not saying that Say is phenomenal TV. There's no denying that. But at the same time, like you can put together a list of 20 Survivor players easily who are better TV than Say, and they all kind of fit into different places in the Survivor community. So I don't know. Plus, we got to see how the rest of Exit Press goes. I mean, my goodness. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't help myself. I had to say something. All right, so here we go. You're still looking over there. I don't know. Are there any other names that are in that discussion?
No, I think that's mainly everything. Always keep in mind there is a very small chance that there's somebody on 49 who could be on 50. The timeline between 49 and 50 is a little bit shorter than normal, so it might not be like good, or it might not be correct, but it's a possibility. Say somebody is knocking their socks off right now, like there is that possibility. But I'm gonna say that it's probably not gonna happen because what do they have, like 2 weeks in between now?
Yeah. I don't actually know. That's why we're doing May 18th as the end date for when you can submit your answers for this game that we're doing, because I actually don't have any idea when it's supposed to be. I think it's 2 weeks, but it could be even less.
Yeah.
So that's what makes this kind of tough. Somebody else had brought up Sabaya here. I think she falls into the same category. She's a pre-merger. I don't think that fits 50. And I think, again, when you go to 50, you're celebrating Survivor. I don't think celebrating it with people who've only been pre-merged is the right way. I think Say, second chance season, lock. Easy. Done.
I think
Sabaya in.
I think Sabaya was also in conversation for 50 for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I think being in the conversation for a season like 50 is huge for your ability to be on the second chance list or on a captain's list or something like that. Because I've talked about this. I think 50 is going to open the floodgates for returning seasons. I think we're going to get at least 3 captain seasons in the 50s. I think we're going to get a second chance this season, or a fans versus favorite season, or even maybe both. I think we're going to have quite a few. I think the reason why they didn't do it during the 40s was because at like 46, they were like, well, 50's 4 seasons away. We don't want to use people up now and then not want to come back for 50. So I really think that we're going to get a lot of returning seasons or potential for returning players in the 50s.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that is the route that this is going. Then Mr. Monkey here says, Redmond said the cast flies out on the 28th, so the cast will leak that day. But he hasn't leaked the 49 cast yet.
Yeah.
Right? The 49 cast is still in the dark, and they flew out a while ago. So if it flies out on the 28th, Tegwith, you get to really get your specialist chops in here, because you, Blake, and Will are going to be podcasting that alone, because I'm on vacation through June 1, and I'm not podcasting until I come back. So hopefully he doesn't leak it on the 28th, because then that's going to be like, shit, I got to wait.
Yeah.
But okay, let's actually start to put this together now. Let's say who these 20 people that we truly think are going to be in there. So I know I had the banner going before below. So let me just add one name here.
I'll wait until the banner comes up, because I can't remember who I said were locks. I mean, I think I remember who. Yeah. Christian Colby, Elizabeth, Angelina Q. I would add Cerie.
Okay. All right,
I don't know. I think that she's a lock.
I think she probably is too. I'm a little surprised that she's a lock, mainly just because it's like, again, we've seen her so many times, and we've seen her on our TVs so much recently that it surprises me a little. But I do agree with you.
Every conversation, and also like literally there was the podcast with it was Cerie and Parvati on some whatever, and Parvati went, and I can't believe you like talking about Australia versus the world, and Parvati went, yeah, and I can't believe you're going to want to fly out, like go again or whatever she said. And it was just like implying that, I don't know. I think she's in, and I don't think we need it, but I think she's in.
Yeah. I agree with that. Where do you want to go next? What's your next take? I know I like how you can use the thumb. All right, so we have 6. So let's say that this is going to be 20, right? These are the 6 that we are the most confident in right now. Who are you looking at next as your next person?
I feel like I would probably say Rob Cesterino.
Really? Okay, so you're going to go right to Rob off
I'm
the
going
bat.
right to Rob. I don't know. I just think that he has pep in his step. I think there's just something, and again, I think it would be really like sucky if CBS and Survivor didn't put him on a season like this. I don't know. That's what I think. Who would you add next?
So I think I would go Stephanie LaGrossa. I think she, yeah. I think she's in. I think there's no doubt that she's in. I'd probably say that she's like, if I was ranking this the way I told you all to rank it for the game here, I'd say Q1, I'd say Cerie 2, I would say Angelina 3, Colby 4, I'd say Christian 5, Elizabeth 6, just because I still can't believe Elizabeth's going to be there. Yeah. And I would probably say Stephanie LaGrossa actually is higher than that. Yeah, like Stephanie LaGrossa is probably 2 or 3.
And Rob Cesterino, I think on your list should be like 12. Like I'm just putting him up there because I just really think that he's there, like in my heart of hearts. It's more of a gut feeling, but I don't know that I'm super confident in that gut feeling, but I really think that he's there.
Yeah, but it's worth having that feeling. Yeah, so that's where I would go. So that brings up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that brings us up to 8.
I think, you know what? I'm going to go with what you said at like minute 5. Let's do Vecepia. Let's do it. So
we're going to put Vecepia. See, now I'm going to tell you this right off the bat. Everybody who's listening, Vecepia is my 19. Yeah. Vecepia is definitely there.
I'm going in order. I think I'm going again. Okay. If there's one thing
I've changed it to cast.
Cast. Good idea. Yeah, good idea. It's cast, not locks.
Yeah, it's cast, not locks.
I'm a vibe girl. I really do go on vibes, which is hot take. I don't hate this season that much. I'm sorry. I know. That's a real bad take, but it's a vibe. I'm going off of a vibe. So that's why I'm saying that. I don't really think that she's a lock, but let's do it.
I love it. Yeah. Also, I spelled Stephanie. Somebody just said Stephanie's name. I'm spelling wrong. I'm not spelling it wrong. That is how you spell it.
Um, what do
Yeah.
we feel, what do we feel? You go next. You go next.
So I guess I'm gonna go into the new era here.
Okay.
I think it's crazy that we're talking like Jesse's out, Carolyn's out. I think that's absolute insanity at this point,
Mhm.
especially Carolyn. Like, and Jesse, yeah, that's another big one. If we're gonna put Vesepia, then we're gonna put Earl too. So we're gonna go that route. But I want to go into the new era, and I want to look at this 42 man. Has Omer officially been cut? Is that official?
That's a really good. I don't know. No, I don't think it's official. I don't think it is. My only hesitancy about Omer is like, did he make a big of a name for himself in the casualness of all of it? Like, I think that a Minnesota mom will remember Jonathan, or somebody out in what's another state? Hawaii would remember Jonathan. And I don't know that they're necessarily remembering Omer, even though Omer's incredible. I love Omer, but it's like, are we leaning into that? But I don't think he's officially been cut. I haven't, what I've seen, it's not like official. So I don't know.
So originally it was there's only going to be 2 or 3 new schoolers.
Yeah. Now
That
it's like,
seems,
I think.
yeah, that seems to have gone out the window. Now, again, we're going based on somebody who claims to be a patron of Redmond. So I'm trying to piece together the last thing Redmond said,
Yeah.
a couple of the last few posts that Redmond has had. Like, I'm trying to piece it all together and figure out what this cast is really going to look like. So when I look at the new era, I will go Jonathan, and I will say that he's going to be on this season, and I'm going to lock him in. But do not be surprised if you see David on that island and Omer on that island, and you don't see Jonathan on that island. Or if you see Jonathan, you also see David anyway.
Agreed. Okay, I think I'm going to go. Do you think Ozzy or Penner is a lock? No.
I don't think I know that you earlier said, like, the things he used to, whatever.
You think he's out?
Jeff wants this to be a family show. I don't know how you put Ozzy on. I'm sorry. And like, look, I'm not going to sit here and say what you should or shouldn't do with your life, but I don't see how you put Ozzy on if you're claiming you want to be for young audiences, because you can't root for him the way you could root for him in Cook Islands. You can't tell your kid, oh, this guy's great, let's go do a quick Google of his name. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess none of them are in contention. Like, do you think that's one of the reasons why Jerry's not on? Jerry didn't do like any kind of specific
Playboy,
content,
right?
She did Playboy. Yeah.
No, I think that Jerry's probably just not there, because I think at this point they're looking at Elizabeth said yes. If Elizabeth said yes, we don't want Jerry.
Okay.
I think that's all it is. I think that's what it came down to. I think Jerry, if Elizabeth hadn't said yes, I think Jerry was in.
Okay. Let's go then. I think let's go Rick Devens.
So we're going against the grain with this one. We're going against the fact that he's not in the discussion. And
he's not in the discussion, but Jeffrey loves him. I really can't imagine. It's like, again, I'm hearing Christian's name, but the only reason why I think Christian's name is because I think everybody just knows that everybody loves Christian. So I don't know. Again, against the grain, but I really, again, another gut instinct, but I think it's Devens.
All right. So now let me stop you here, because I do want to get back into this whole 50% thing, right? We currently have, if you look at our list, and let's throw Earl in, because we said if we're going to do Vesepia, we're going to do Earl. So let's say that we've pieced this together. We figured out why they're including winners, and they're going to put Vesepia and Earl, and they're finally going to give the credit to those 2 winners that they deserve. Again, if there's only 18 people on the cast, I'm ranking these 2 at 19 and 20.
Yeah.
But if you were to look at this right now, we have 11 names. And Angelina said that in the season 37 finale, she said, as a woman of color. So I'm putting her onto the diverse section here. We have 7 non-diverse and 4 diverse, right? So now when you're making this, you have 3 more slots to fill for one side, and you have 6 slots to fill on the other. So I just think that's something to keep in mind now as we start looking at these names. And that's again why I'm saying I'm not buying Penner. I'm not buying Charlie. Like, I feel like there are other options for people here.
Mm-hmm.
And then going even a step further, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have 4 women, and we have 7 men. That we.
Oh my God, I forgot about women.
Yeah. And Tegwith said it, by the way. Tegwith said, I forgot about women.
I forgot it was a 10-10. I forgot that was
everybody was like, you guys got to stop being the broy podcast. So we went out and we found Tegwith, who just had the quote in her first specialist podcast, I forgot about women. Perfect.
To be clear, this is the person who bawled on the internet when 4 women got voted out on 44 in a row, literally crying, sobbing. So it's called balance, guys.
All right, well, let's do it right here.
I think is the longest shot of the longest shots. I'm sorry.
See, I think she's in. I think there's been too much speculation and too much conversation around it. At this point, I actually would be a little surprised if she's not. I feel like they're talking about her so much. Like she is one of the few people here who has not fallen out of the conversation at any point. Like some of these names that we have here weren't in the conversation. They were like, she is in the conversation.
That's true. Okay.
You're just hedging your bets. That's all.
I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous about it.
Well, I'm going to make the executive decision here. Unilaterally, I'm putting Amanda. I think she's in. But again, now that gets us our fifth woman.
Exciting though. That's so exciting. Okay. I think D is on.
Really?
I think here's the thing. I was thinking that D was not on because I thought that they were currently filming the challenge, or that they hadn't started or whatever. The fact that it just ended, and I know the challenge is super long and hard, but I'm pretty sure you're fed, right? It's not like she was starving.
Yeah, they party like every night.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not like she was starving for 3 months. So I think she's kind of in the mindset of I'm filming TV, so why not in 2 weeks? Let's just go out and film some more TV. I think that she is probably a new era lock, which is against what I said on my video, because I thought when I made that video, I thought that they either hadn't started filming or they were currently filming that. And I thought it just didn't work with the schedules. And I will say, if there's a contract or something, I do think that CBS could buy her out of the contract, but isn't MTV owned by Paramount?
Yes, but they still I think it's Survivor who complains more.
I think they would like roll their eyes that Dee did the challenge. I don't think they would do anything to make it that she wouldn't be on the show. I think they'd be like, why'd you have to do that? Ugh, God, fine, we'll let you on. That's what I feel like. They would just be like a kicking their feet, but they're still going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. So I just looked up and found this 50 news. This is from 5 days ago, but in the Discord server, supposedly Redmond mentioned 6 to 7 new era players in the running instead of 3 to 4. 48 male added, mentioned they were likely on, along with the 48 female still in the mix. Additional 46 player in the mix. He said it was male, but isn't 100% sure. Still no winners, but says I'm not ruling it out completely yet. So I guess, are we putting too much into the winners thing if that's all he said?
I don't know. I really feel like there's something with the on fire, because if you're talking to Jeffrey Probst every single week for 13 weeks, 12 weeks, and you're not going to be on his radar, just seems weird to me, I think there's a lot more stock in the on fire than I think we're giving it credit.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Who do you think this 48 man is then? Especially if Redmond's saying they're likely on. Who do you think this is? It can't be Joe. I'm sorry, but a lot of people probably go Joe first. I don't think Joe is compelling enough to put immediately back on. Yes, he is the easy person to root for, but go ahead.
Okay, this might be a long shot. Shaheen. The reason why his gameplay hasn't been crazy, but we're getting really funny moments with him. The editing of the song, there was him throwing the whipped cream, him fishing, all of this stuff. He is in it. And I think that he has he's bringing gameplay, he's bringing intrigue. I think that there's something to be said about Shaheen. I think this might be a long shot because I have not seen his name anywhere, but think about his edit. I think that he's not under edited. He's over edited. Mm-hmm. He has been given one of, I think, some cool things. He's been talked about for a while. His voice is a part of a lot of things. I don't know. I could see it.
Ellis Axon asks you this. Is
Is he giving? You don't think, do you think that? I think he's.
No, I think Shaheen's getting a lot of shit. I think this whole cast is getting a lot of shit. I know that I turned on this season this week. Okay. I turned on it last week, really. But up through the David boot, I was defending the season like crazy. I still don't think this season is that bad. I think that people are overreacting, like Will, who I co-host with all the time. Oh, this is the worst season of the new era. This might be one of the worst seasons of the show. It's like, to me, that's an exaggeration. He also thinks All Stars is like top 10, though. He keeps on loving All Stars. What do I know? But like, I just feel like when I'm looking at this, I was into it enough. The David boot was good. Like the final product doesn't matter to me that much in terms of who's getting voted out every week. So I was into it enough, but these last 2 weeks, it's been bad. So I think Shaheen is probably getting getting the shit, getting beat up a little bit more than he should be.
Is he getting the Dodo edit? Like, I don't think that he is. He got a moment where he was like subtly giving hints to people about about the David situation or whatever, over a long period of time. Like, I love Owen. Owen was getting the Dodo edit. Like, Owen was caught in a fight. Owen was left out. I think he literally got Charlie Brown music. That's what I think when I think Dodo edit. I think we're seeing a fun side of Shaheen. But again, I think that there are different kinds of gameplay. Do I prefer really big gameplay for television? Yes. But I think, someone is going to win this season. So for one person, it's great gameplay. And that's, the hill I'll die on. But I think Shaheen's a long shot. So I don't think you should put Shaheen, but I just think it's something to think about.
Yeah, I'm wondering because here's the other thing too. And like, to keep going back to the 50% diversity, you can't have Jonathan and David then both on this season. Like, they both fit the exact same role.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be David. I think that there's an archetype and Jonathan is that archetype. And I think if it's not Jonathan, then it's David, but I think it's Jonathan.
And so I guess though, what my question is, like, when you're talking about Shaheen and you're like, he still feels like a long shot, based on what this person is saying, Redmond's saying that the 48 man is likely on. So if Shaheen's a long shot, if David fits the same role as Jonathan,
then it's
you
Joe.
think it is Joe?
Then it's Joe.
All right.
And it's Joe.
I'm going to put Joe.
If it's like because I love Kyle, but Kyle's getting a lot of shit. Like, a lot of people are like going against the season. And while a lot of super fans are going against Joe, the casuals are probably not. Like, maybe some of them are, but like, I can see people talking like, whoa.
She has blacked out.
What is his name?
I don't know.
He's from Boston.
Jake.
Oh my God. Thank you. I was not thinking of a single name the entire time. Like, not a name came to my brain. Jake literally tweeted saying, like, I laughed out loud when David stood up, but my mom is probably going to call me tomorrow saying, like, what a nice guy for standing up for his friend. So there are people that I think is like, I think that Joe is on. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So let's throw Joe in here. I think that's a totally fine argument. I just am surprised because I do feel like at the end of the day, I look for the players, like, what are they going to bring that's different? Joe's not going to bring anything different, but maybe if Joe's not on there with Eva, maybe the conversation is different. Maybe Joe does play a different style game. So maybe that does work. So have we hit our men then? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 men. So we have 2 more male spots. And then we have, just to make sure I'm doing my math right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 4 female spots. So we have 6 spots left.
Chrissy.
We're at 14. So you think Chrissy's in?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do the crazy? Go ahead.
I don't know. I think if I just go back to the interview, I think that he was shouting out Chrissy for a reason. Maybe it was because she was going through the casting process. And he wanted to be like, please still think about us. But I don't know. And I know that she's been down on the season and on Twitter and stuff, but I definitely think Chrissy, I don't know. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I think you're right. If a 35 is in here, Mr. Mungie says Chrissy from 48, obviously. If a 35 is in here, it's Chrissy. Like, I just don't see it being Desi. I don't think it's Desi. And I think Chrissy fits into that second chance conversation. Throwing the plate of spaghetti is an easy thing to show. I think Chrissy fits.
And she's also had, gone through things since she was on the season. She had to get a double mastectomy. Like, she has, I'm thinking about on season 40 when Ethan talked about his battle with cancer on the edge of extinction. Like, if you're thinking about this from a story perspective, she has more story to tell.
Yeah. And I like Chrissy. Like, I'm all in on Chrissy playing again. I would love that. And then for the 48 woman, since this one's also a name that's been going around and I think would be an easy spot to fill here, Say or Camilla. Right? Because is there anybody else who could be in consideration there? Like Star, no way. Right? Like Star's
The
great.
other person is Eva, but I don't know that they would want to put Joe and Eva on the season.
It's the same storyline again. I've already watched that storyline for too many episodes without any development. Now you're going to do a whole nother season. There's no way to develop it further.
But I think that like Camilla's getting a weird edit, and I just think that like, but I don't think it's Say either, because I don't know.
I mean, maybe this person's not going to make it. Maybe the man has taken over as the 48 representative, and maybe Joe comes out and plays again, and he is the 48 representative, and there is no woman in the mix here.
Maybe. I know we're skipping, but I think probably if there is somebody on season 47, it's got to be Rachel. I think it probably would have been Genevieve, but I think Genevieve doesn't want to do it. And so I do feel like if I'm going with the on fire theory, it's probably going to be Rachel.
So then do we have to put Charlie in?
No, I don't think we do. Because I think that Charlie is also an outlier, because Charlie is the only non-winner. I guess Rick Devens hosted. Never mind.
Yeah, but Kenzie didn't want to do it. By this point, Jeff had figured out that he wanted it to be the winner of the season, and Kenzie said no because she was pregnant and about to give birth. Whereas Devens was the first option because Jeff was building his podcast. So you're going to take the biggest personality there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put Rachel now. So I guess the problem we're running into, though, like let's say
how many winners do we have now?
Now we have 4, and
potentially Joe.
Joe's not winning.
That's 2 and 2. If it's 2 tribes, if we're operating in the assumption it's 2 tribes of 10, that's 2 on each tribe.
Now, what happens though if there are no winners? If winners aren't actually in the mix, are we just totally missing here?
Then I think we're wrong and screwed. I don't know. If there are no winners, then I think that stinks, because I think I really want to see Vesepia.
Yeah, now we've built that into our brain, right?
But if no winners, then I would do like Sheehan.
No way.
Is that crazy? Is that crazy?
That's crazy. Jeff wants Thailand to not exist. I think that's crazy. Okay. I would watch Sheehan play again, but I think that's crazy.
I think that's probably crazy too. But I was just thinking like early seasons, somebody who I kind of would want to see again. And we are also not talking about the people who like might not be rumored at all.
Yeah, should we each take like a stab? Yeah, I know. Well, so here's where we're at. We have 8 women, 9 men. So we have 1 more male spot, and we have 9 that aren't diverse, and we have 7 that are. So you'd have 3 more diverse casting choices, and then you'd have 1 non-diverse casting choice. Wait, I did that totally wrong. I don't know how to do math. What is happening? Did I do this right? No, that's right. I'm right. Okay, we're good. I'm writing it on a sticky note because I'm a child who refuses to just use like Google or something or Sheets to make my life easier. So again, that's something to keep in mind. Now, people were saying earlier that they're getting rid of the 50%. Is that true? There's no way, right? They're keeping that, I thought. Have you heard that rumor?
I haven't heard that rumor.
I haven't either. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Monkey says when 40's cast got announced, Redmond hadn't heard anything about Ethan and Amber until the day of.
Okay, oh my God, there's so much. There's so many people.
I mean, and look, we could get to 20 names and then we could say, actually, I think there's a more likelihood. Like, here's one. Sierra's name has come up. We haven't talked about Sierra at all.
Sierra Dawn Thomas?
No, Easton.
Easton.
Yeah, her name's come up.
Oh.
Yeah. I know.
I don't want Sierra back. I'm sorry.
Her last
My hot
iteration
take,
was bad.
she didn't vote out her mom. She voted
yeah.
for her mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lead the cause against your mom, and then you can vote out your mom. Sorry, that's my hot take.
Yeah. She went along with it. She did what Nina did. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and everyone said Nina vote out. No, she didn't. She just said, "Okay, I'll be on the right side
I
of
just
the
don't
vote."
want to be on the wrong side of the votes. Exactly.
Sorry, it's my weirdest hot take from Survivor.
Just pet peeve more than anything.
It's more of a pet peeve, yeah. Sierra, that would be crazy, but maybe. I just had a name and then it went away. It went away. Hold on, maybe it'll come back. It's not on this list that I have over here. It'll come back. I think Sierra would be interesting. But she's come back. She was second chances twice.
She's played 3 times.
3 times because she was on. Okay.
But she really, game changer. She was there for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's why I forgot. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't think that she's going to be there. I don't know. I feel like that's a no.
Okay. That was a name that came up.
What about Davey? I know we talked about him for a little bit. I know he's kind of, in theory, out of the casting. But, like, I don't know. I feel like he was a alternate on his original season. He was in talks for the Traitors and he got cut. Like, he for some reason is always getting cut, but he is incredible TV. Like, if you think about the live finale, Jeff interviewed him. Like, that was the person that he wanted to bring out, and he was like, wow, you played such a good game, like everything was great, and he took time to interview him. So I feel like Davey's a huge thing. And somebody saying only if Christian is out. They've had allies on the game before. Parvati and Amanda, yeah, they started on different tribes, but they were there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would love Davey on. I think Davey's first game is super underrated because his cast is so good that he kind of gets lost in the mix a little bit, but he makes a deep run. He's got the whole blurred thing going on, which we haven't heard since. And that's such an easy selling point. Like, anybody who's met Davey's great and could win the game easily. He just ended up on a season where he ran out of room. And so I think Davey would be a great casting choice. I mean, if you want to lock Davey, they're all saying Davey got cut.
I know, that's what I heard too. But, like, you know, people get cut and brought back all the time. I just really feel like that is a shame.
I agree. I do. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we actually have 2 men and 2 women left. I can't do math. So we have 2 men and 2 women left. What about Malcolm? Like, is Malcolm really out?
Malcolm on there. I think Malcolm is kind of out of the, like, does he have a social media that he actually uses? Like, I know he has one, but, like, is he on it? I feel like he wouldn't be super rumored. I don't feel like I hear a lot from Malcolm. I think Malcolm's there.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put Malcolm as well. I think, like, Malcolm, when I did this with Mike Bloom and Will back, like, we did a 50 draft, Malcolm was, I think, my second pick. I want Malcolm on this season very badly because I feel like we only got to watch him play once. What about Bryce? Is there any consideration for Bryce? No way, right? Okay. Now,
he would be a second chances, if anything, but I think that he's
because Jeff likes him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's huge in the Survivor community, but I just feel like a lot of casuals wouldn't even know who he is. You know, and I think that he is somebody that could be, you know, on a second chances or be brought back for one. And a lot of people go, who is that? And then he plays a great game, but I don't know.
Yeah. So we have 1 more male and we have 2 more females. All 3 would fit into the diverse casting of this, but I'm also willing to cut some people, move some people around if we're still having the conversation.
If we are, and we're definitely saying that we really think that Davey is cut.
I think so. I mean, that seems to be.
We haven't talked about anybody from season 1. We really think no one's going to be on the season from season 1.
Jervis.
Yeah, I feel like Jervis is there.
Yeah, Jervis. All right, let's do Jervis. I think it could be Jervis for sure. And Jervis is one of those people who has such a crap social media presence anyway that, like, it doesn't make a difference.
And he would be there. He would be there.
Yeah, and I will say, like, if Jervis needs somebody to run his social media account and he's like, oh man, I'm going to be in Fiji and I don't want anybody to know, like, I can also find the least funny meme and I can post that once a week. I can do that too. So, like, if you need me, Jervis, call me. I got you.
Really weird, kind of crazy thing. Philip wouldn't be there, right?
No way. He's too old. That's really the biggest thing with Philip. Like Philip, absolutely, if you were celebrating Survivor, could be in consideration. But Philip is really old. He's 67. That would make him, I think, the third or fourth oldest person to ever play.
Who's the oldest? Kim?
No, the oldest to ever play?
How old was she on season 2? Was her name Kim? Who am I thinking of?
Kim. No, you're thinking Kim Johnson. She was season
Kim
3. No, the
Oh,
oldest is Rudy, and then Sonia was the oldest woman.
Oh, okay. How old was Kim?
Kim Johnson, Survivor, because I know she passed last year.
Yeah, she died really recently.
79. So when she played, it was she was 59.
Oh, she wasn't that old when she played. I mean, that's
yeah,
like, yeah, I thought she was slightly older. Okay. Okay, so then I don't know for the women because I want so many people back. I don't think anybody from season 39 is going to be there. What about like anybody from like Co-Wrong?
That would only be Sydney, but
What
I don't
about
think she's in.
if winner? Oh, we already have 4 winners, but if winners are already in the mix, what about Natalie Anderson?
Maybe, but I also feel like Natalie Anderson, like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like Natalie Anderson may have finished second place on Winners at War, but she like brought nothing.
Matt, that's crazy. I think we literally thought about that at the exact same
I think you did too. That's so
just
funny.
commented Natalie Anderson. That's insane.
Yeah. Kim Matina says, 67 is really old. What the actual F here? I'm only saying that from a Survivor standpoint. Like 67 to play Survivor would be very old. Oh, Ellis Axon says Shan. Has there been a Shan conversation?
I haven't. I mean, at the very beginning, it was Shannon Ricard. There was even a conversation that Ricard was on Australia versus the World, which is so funny. I don't know. Maybe Shan. That's crazy.
And what about, we don't have Emily Flippin here. I know that would kind of throw off the 50% thing here, but like Emily Flippin. Cloud says Redmond still as Shan as possible.
I totally forgot about Shan. And Shan's online presence is not around Survivor at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think we should put Shan. I think Shan would make sense. Yeah,
I love that.
Shan.
I love Shan. I would love to see Shan come back.
Yeah, and Shan played the challenge or whatever so long ago at this point that I don't think people would even like care because like her contract and stuff is up, so that wouldn't be an issue. Somebody said that there was like a tier chart of this somewhere.
Are you talking about the one that Johnny Fairplay did?
No, I don't think it was Fair Play.
Because there was a tier chart that Fairplay did that I just didn't. That's not true.
I mean, Johnny Fairplay, Johnny Fairplay is Johnny Fairplay. Let's see.
And people, I mean, maybe it's Emily.
Maybe. I just want to make sure we're not missing anyone, I want to make sure we're not missing anyone. So,
I don't know. I mean,
then you go to Our Survivor, and it's like, what about Karen? I was like, no, stop, Our Survivor, stop that.
I feel like this is a pretty good list, and I just don't know who to end it with. I don't know because we've got a season 1, which I think is super important. We've got some. We got an icon, like a couple multiple returners who have never won, being Cirie, Angelina, Colby. Not Angelina, sorry, Amanda, Colby. Also Stephanie in theory. We have 4 winners. We've got some icons of the new era. I just don't know who to put in that last spot.
So out of curiosity, because I know you said the Fair Play one was untrue, but like, were there any specific names that Fair Play was saying that we didn't bring up? Like, because I know Fair Play's very tapped into the old school people.
I wonder if I can find it again. I can't. Let me see if I can Google it, because I think that like Sydney was on this list from what I recall. Like Angelina, Davey, Christian,
Sydney Gillen or Sydney Siegel?
Not Sydney Siegel.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me see if I can look it up. because I just felt like the list was not very good, and I just was like, I don't think this is right. They said that Davy and Say were cut, but they were alternates. Which I just was like, I don't know. The whole list I felt like was, and he literally was like, this is locked. This is the locked list for season 50. Hold on, Jenny,
if that fair play list ends up being right, see if you can find it. Yeah, because I feel like the thing is, fair play gets more info than I think some people in the community want to give him credit for. But I also feel like to say it's locked, I don't think it's even locked now.
Okay, it was Abby Maria, Amanda, Angelina, Christian, Suri, Colby, Sydney, Davy, Genevieve, Jervis, Jenna Lewis, who I forgot about, Jerry, Jonathan, Malcolm, Q, Rick Devens, Say, Sean, Stephanie, and Ty.
Okay, I would watch that season.
Me too.
That would be a great season of Survivor. So even if that's just fan fiction, we need to like Brant steal that at some point.
Yeah. And then I found another one. I found the tiered list that I think they were talking about. I think I found it. Rumored cast members of, this is just the one that is just like a tiered list. I wish I could, I mean, I can send you this link, I think.
Yeah, put it in the private chat over here. There's a private chat button.
Let me look. This is from 11 days ago. So this, I mean, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the list, but I don't think anything is confirmed until boots on ground. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, so, I'm not putting anything into anything. So this is the one. So this is from 11 days ago.
11 days ago. It's tiered, rumor cast members, speculated, alternate names rumored, rumored to have been cut recently, rumored to have been considered, and they claimed or hinted that they were cut.
Okay, so this is from W. Galantino over at Our Survivor. I just want to make sure we give credit there before we like rattle this off. But this is from them. So I'm looking at this. We talked about everybody who says rumored cast members.
Yeah, we did.
And so far, the only ones we don't have on are Emily, Jonathan, Ozzy, and Say, and Genevieve. Which, like, those would be the 5 I think are the least likely out of that grouping.
Yeah. And then on the speculated, it's Greg, Jenna, and Jervis, all of whom we've talked about. Rob, Malcolm, Kelly Wentworth, who we didn't really talk about a lot, Ty, Aubrey, Rick Devens, and Shan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one. I don't think Aubrey or Kelly are in that mix. I don't think Greg. I think Greg is the pipe dream. I don't think he's actually there.
Yeah.
Alternate names rumored are PG, Desi, Davey, Omer, Mike Turner, Caleb, Katura, somebody we haven't mentioned, Mary, and Charlie. Mary didn't do enough on this season to get a season 50 call, I don't think. Katura, I don't think so. I've just never bought into the Katura hype. I don't think Katura would be on there.
I think there are some names that I think to me are very clearly second chances names. I think Katura is one of those names in my opinion. But or like somebody who could be up for contention for second chances, but I just don't think that she's on this. I could see Caleb. I think he leans more second chances to me. I don't know.
And then we have rumored to have recently been cut Jerry, Sean, Stephen Fishback, Gabby, Ricard, and Abby Maria. And then rumored to have been considered. I'm going to go in reverse order on this. Andy, Venus, Jem, Sabaya, Xander, Sydney, Natalie Bolton, Lex, and Nalia?
That's crazy.
Nalia.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We didn't talk about Venus. Any shot at Venus taking this last
I
spot?
think that would be really cool. I would love to see Venus back. She has that chaos and gameplay kind of, cross. I think that, she's willing to make moves, but then she also brings a lot of really fun stuff online. So I think she's got a little bit of both. So I think that's a really fun person to talk about. I will say this is, my hot take during season 47 was that Andy was going to be Malcolm and just get a invitation to season 50 on the island and be like, you're on, because of you think about season 47, Andy was the marker, was the storyteller. And yeah, he, had a rough time about it, but starting off, having a breakdown and going to leading Operation Italy, I think is an incredible arc and somebody that we're going to see back at some point.
I could see Andy fitting into that category of I haven't said a thing.
Of what?
And you're like, I haven't said a thing. and you all won't know. And that's that. Like, I could see Andy fitting that for sure.
Yeah.
I absolutely think Andy could be on this season. I think if you're going a new era, man, he could fit in there, and I could see him being on over Earl. Like Earl, obviously, Earl and Vecepia, we're going with like this
Long
pipe
shot.
dream of, yeah, those are long shots. But like, I think that like if Earl's not there, Andy could easily be that guy.
Yeah,
he doesn't fit the same archetype at all, but for sure. And then maybe Venus is the person we should be putting as this other person.
I'm fine with that. I love Venus.
And then
I think that Venus is a better name than, you know, some of these alternate names. I think Venus is a better name than like Mary or Katora. I love them, but I think that Venus has a very interesting, you know, way to play the game. And I think she's chaotic and great. And I would love to see Venus again.
And Venus kind of fits the say element of this.
A little bit, yeah.
But made a way deeper run in the game.
Mm-hmm.
We have Shan and Venus, though.
Yeah.
So some people are like, give me Venus over. So right now, if we were to do this, our women would be Cirie, Angelina, D, Rachel. I might have one too many people here.
Oh, no, we got to cut somebody.
Hang on, because I didn't write Vecepia on my handy-dandy paper here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, we have 21. So we didn't need Venus in the first place.
Oh, sad. Sorry, Venus.
Are we just cutting Venus? Is it that easy? We just fought that hard to get Venus, and Venus is out.
How many women do we have?
That we have 10. Because I forgot to write Vecepia on my paper.
So we need to cut a man. Oh no! Because you forgot.
No, like we would have 10 without Venus.
I mean, would the other option be cutting Vecepia? I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah, so we're cutting Venus. So we just had that whole conversation of trying to find the 10th person. It's because I can't do math. So it's Vecepia, Cirie, Angelina, D, Rachel, Shan, Elizabeth, Stephanie, Amanda, Chrissy. That's your 10 women. And then for men, it's Q, Earl, Joe, and we're talking Joe from 48, Jervis, Christian, Colby, Rob C, Jonathan, Devins, and Malcolm. That's your 10. So that would be our 20-person cast right now. And I do feel like...
And can we put Venus and Charlie as alternates?
Yeah, I think Venus and Charlie as alternates makes sense there. I feel like that makes sense because I do feel like when you're looking at like this is taking a lot of the speculation and trying to like build off of it and kind of throwing the people where it's like, would they really not include Devins? Like we didn't talk much about Dom. Maybe Dom's a second chance guy, but like Devins has to be in there.
I really feel like Devins is there. The only person that I would think to replace Devins with is Dom, not because they're that similar, but because I just think that Dom should be in the conversation. But like, I really feel like Devins is there. I really do.
Yeah. Brian Ariana, can we brand steal that?
Ooh. I think the two longest shots are probably Vecepia and Earl. Follow-up being Amanda. And then I would also say follow-up to that probably being like Venus.
So let's say Vecepia and Earl are not on. Okay. And let's just, obviously then you'd have to be looking at two diverse casting choices and all that. But let's say like just you could pull from anybody. If Vecepia and Earl aren't on, who are you taking as your two people? Like a man and a woman. Could be anybody. We don't have to go for the 50% on this. Just who would you be your 50? Who would be your
Well, Penner is one of my favorite players to ever play. So I'd probably say Penner. No, I'm sorry. I love you, Penner. I'm gonna say Sean Rector. And because I just want Sean Rector back so badly. I really want Sean Rector. Like, I just think it just needs to happen. So Sean Rector would probably be number one. And anybody ever, like we're talking, I can do pre-mergers because then it would be Natalie.
Natalie Cole. Okay.
Yeah, Natalie Cole. Like, I would really love to see Natalie back. Like, I think that she is iconic and just like the fact that she made this much of an impact on Survivor in what, 5 episodes, 6 episodes? That's icon. 5 episodes, I think it was.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's just iconic in my opinion.
I couldn't help myself because Mr. Monkey said, who voted for me? Can't do 50 without the pirate. Yeah, we didn't even mention Rupert's name. Is Rupert literally why is his name?
I don't want.
I'm just saying, if you're talking the biggest player maybe to ever play the game.
That's true. But what is he going to give us?
I know. Well, I agree with that. We can watch him say, I will. And then, 5-second films, you now see him getting his torch, throwing his buff in the fire. He's 61 too. So that's old. He is too old.
I don't think he's too old. I just think that I don't know. That's a really good point. I can't believe we didn't talk about Rupert this whole time. But
his name has not circulated at all.
Not really, no.
Yeah, I think though, like we have these 20 here. This is what we're trying to predict with. Everybody who's made it this far, like this video, subscribe to the channel, do all that. But then also play the game. And again, you're ranking based on your most confident. I still think we are getting at least one name that nobody is talking about right now.
At least.
Like when in Rome here says James didn't come up. I want Todd. I would love Todd to be on there. I don't think it happens, but maybe James is on there. James has no social media presence.
Yeah.
And it could be James versus Jonathan. I'd watch that, even though James is older now. Like, I'd watch that.
Me too.
So I think we're going to get a rando. And I think everybody should take that into consideration when they're doing this. But again, you can only submit for the contest until May 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, or when this cast gets leaked, if for some reason it gets leaked this week. So we'll have to see with that. But I'm curious to see what people are going to put, because I feel like we've gone through this. I thought, based on what I've been seeing and like the rumors that have circulated, I thought that a lot more of this cast was like locked in than truly is. I feel like we had 6 or 7 spots that we were very confident in. This is a lot more wide open than I thought.
Yeah. And I think we'll probably get the obviously Redmond hasn't like posted anything about season 49, but there are going to be, in theory, fans that are going to be out there for the first couple of days. And we're going to hear about this cast pretty much.
I mean, those people are signing NDAs. If that leaks, they are going to get in trouble.
Well, people are going to talk about it and they're going to tell me.
Yeah, I know. We'll see. We'll see, everybody. I mean, look, again, if they're saying they're flying out on the 28th and that's when it's going to drop, I really hope not, because that is the middle of my vacation and I'm not doing anything. But that's it. That's what we got. Look at that, Tag. With first podcast, you got to do 2 hours. How's that feel?
Sorry, guys.
I have to now go do over an hour and a half, maybe, with Sam Phelan. So that's going to be fun. And 2 hours. I don't even have a break. I know. I'm actually very excited to talk to Sam on Mother's Day. Couldn't get any mothers. Got Sam.
Sam said.
Thank you all so much for listening, though. Tag, with any final thoughts here before we put this thing to bed?
My final thought is I'm just so excited. And I think no matter what we get, we're going to get no matter who's on the cast, whatever else, we're going to have a really fun show. I think, it's going to be the first time in 5+ years that we're going to have a returning cast. And I just am so hungry for it. And I'm so excited. And I just can't wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and we're going to have a lot of Survivor 50 content coming out during the off season. Once that cast does get announced, we're obviously going to do our Survivor 50 cast assessment, breakdown, reaction. Blake and Will be on that. Now, granted, again, if that's during my vacation week, everybody's going to be doing it without me, or we're going to come back from my vacation and we're going to try to do it. But that's going to be coming out, and then we're going to have more content coming out based around each of the players who make the cast, which we'll get into a little bit more when we actually do our podcast based on the 50 cast. Tagwith also has this we have a series that's going to be coming out in a little bit too, that's going to be about like Survivor for newbies, which is going to be really fun. So there you go. That's the first hint at that. Yeah. Which some of you who have been around since day one are going to be like, what the heck? But for some of you, you're going to be like, I do want to know this. And it's kind of to get everybody ready for season 50, because there's a lot that's changed, and kind of going through a little bit of the history of some of the most important things of Survivor. So we're going to be doing that as well. So our off season is going to be packed. It's going to be a very, 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 very good off season. We just need this 50 cast really to drop. Yep. So thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. Like this video again, like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you get your games in, your entries in. I can't think of the word entry. Get that in, and we will see you later. I'll see you guys in 2 hours if you want to be there for me and Sam Phelan. Otherwise, we'll see you next time we do some Survivor 50 stuff. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I know. Tagwith just keeps